Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. My name is Abby Evans and today's video is all about my primary condition, Ehlers-Danlos Syndrome. Today, the 31st of May, marks the last day of EDS Awareness Month. So today I'm going to give you 5 things that you should know about Ehlers-Danlos Syndrome. So number 1. What is Ehlers-Danlos Syndrome? Ehlers-Danlos Syndrome is a group of connective tissue disorders which are hereditary. Now this means that they are passed on from parents to child and can pass on through many generations, but of course it has to start somewhere. So you may have it and your parents may not. You could be the first carrier in your family. As a group of connective tissue disorders, Ehlers-Danlos syndrome, there are 13 different types of EDS. Now the types are decided on a certain group of symptoms for each type, and there are also a genetic test for 12 out of 13 types. The only type that doesn't have a test is hypermobile Ehlers-Danlos, or HEDS, and I have that type. So for me there is no genetic test to decide whether I have it or not. It is done based on evidence and other results. By connective tissue disorder, what I mean is that the collagen, which is something that keeps your joints stable and strong, we actually really lack it as EDS patients. So as an EDS sufferer, you really lack collagen, which is really important to keeping your joints strong and keeping them in place. The most common symptom between EDS sufferers is joint dislocations, and that could be anything from shoulders to hips to ankles to fingers, all the time. Number 2, what are common signs of EDS? So the most common first sign is actually subluxation of joints, which is really common in most types of EDS, but because there are 13 different types, it depends varying on type. So I'm going to speak from my condition, which is hypermobile Ehlers-Danlos. The main types of that are dislocating joints, velvety smooth skin, so I have really smooth skin, like baby skin, gastrointestinal issues, and also something called POTS, which is fainting. There are lots of different ones. They are the ones that affect me the most, and that is why I also have a feeding tube. Number 3, do people with Ehlers-Danlos often use medical devices or mobility aids? Now obviously it's going to be different for everyone because Ehlers-Danlos is a spectrum disorder, so some people have very mild symptoms and some people have very severe symptoms, and that depends. So for me, I actually use a wheelchair full time because I have Ehlers-Danlos and I also have another condition with some nerves and my spinal cord, so I'm actually having to use a wheelchair full time, and that's a recent transition for me. Before I could walk a little bit and used my wheelchair for long distance just because of my EDS, but recently I've had a problem with my back, and that's mean I've had to become a full-time wheelchair user. I use a wheelchair. I also use crutches, a shower stool because I can't stand up in the shower due to my POTS, a feeding tube which I use to feed because I have gastrointestinal failure, which means I don't absorb food like everyone else. I have something called gastroparesis, which means I have to be fed directly into my intestines instead of into my stomach, and I have a video right up there that you can go check out about my feeding tube. People also use things like walking sticks or canes. Some people will use walking frames, often use joint braces and things like KT tape, which help us to keep our joints in place, finger splints, slings to help us when we dislocate things. Number 4, why do people with Ehlers-Danlos use the symbol as a zebra as their mascot? So when doctors, it actually comes from a really long time ago, but when doctors are taught in medical school, they're taught when you hear the sound of horseshoes, think horses, not zebras. Now the reason for this is because when you have someone come in with a symptom, instead of going to the most rare thing it could be, you're better to rule out the most common thing it will be straight away, because 9 times out of 10 it's going to be the most common thing. So if someone comes in with a cough, it's more likely that they've got a chest infection than pneumonia, because the chest infection is going to be a more common thing than pneumonia. Again, it could be even more rare than pneumonia, but they have to do it in that order. And that's where it came from, because Ehlers-Danlos syndrome is very rare, it's a very rare condition, and we use the zebra as our mascot because we are rare, we are unique, everyone with Ehlers-Danlos is different, and that is why most things in my life now are zebra themed. For example, these coasters. Okay, number 5, is there a cure for Ehlers-Danlos syndrome? No, there is not a cure for Ehlers-Danlos syndrome. There is actually no treatment for Ehlers-Danlos syndrome as current, but there are ways you can treat the symptoms of Ehlers-Danlos syndrome. There is medications that will help with baseline pain, your flare-ups, your dislocation pains, then also things like your POTS, which is related to your heart, so to regulate that, to regulate your mast cells. which will help you have less reactions, to regulate your gastrointestinal symptoms, to regulate your heart symptoms if you've got vascular EDS, whatever type of EDS there are lots of medication to help regulate those symptoms. So they are very helpful, but there's no medications or cure that will help Ehlers-Danlos go away. Ehlers-Danlos is a lifelong condition, and for some people means they live a very short life. Anyway, that is 5 things about Ehlers-Danlos syndrome to finish this EDS Awareness Month. If you would like to read the rest of my posts, they will be linked down below. And I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope it was informative, and I will see you guys in a couple of days with another video. I hope you guys enjoyed. Goodbye.